The stench of smoke hit Jake like a punch, bitter and choking, as he slammed his truck door shut in the quiet of a late September afternoon. The stillness of his dad's neighborhood, usually a comfort, felt wrong eerie. Then he heard it, a frantic pounding from inside his father's modest ranch-style house, followed by a voice, frail and desperate. "Help! Somebody please! I can't get out!" It was his dad, Henry, and the sound sent a jolt of ice through Jake's veins. He sprinted up the driveway, his work boots smacking the asphalt, heart slamming against his ribs like it was trying to break free. The front door, painted a bright green Henry had picked to lift his spirits, was locked. Jake twisted the knob. Nothing. He threw his shoulder into it, grunting, but it didn't budge. Then he saw them. Heavy chains, cold and out of place, looped through the door handles, secured with a shiny new padlock. Rage flared, hot and blinding. Who the hell would do this? A flicker of orange caught his eye, and the window a tongue of flame licking the curtains, turning his dad's cozy, living room into a nightmare. "Dad!" Jake roared, pounding the door with both fists. "I'm here. I'll get you out." From a side of the house, near Henry's prized azaleas, a figure stepped out, radiating smug authority. Susan Carter, the HOA president, clipboard in hand like a weapon, her lips pressed into a thin, judgmental line. She looked at the smoke curling from the roof, not with panic, but with a chilling satisfaction that made Jake's stomach churn. "There's a fire, Susan," he shouted, voice raw. "My dad's trapped. Those chains get them off." Susan sniffed, unruffled. "Mr. Thompson has multiple HOA violations, Jake. Unauthorized fence paint, tools left out, and now an unpermitted fire. The emergency access is secured per Section 4, subsection B, until the board assesses the situation." Jake blinked, the world tilting. The smoke was thicker now, black and greasy, carrying the sickly sweet smell of burning plastic. "Are you out of your mind? He'll die. Open the damn door." Susan's voice was ice, robotic. "Rules keep us safe. Maybe this will teach him to respect the community standards." Her words hit like a slap. Leah vying, Jake stunned for a heartbeat, the crackle of flames, and his own ragged breaths the only sounds. Then instinct kicked in, years of training as the state fire marshal, snapping into focus like a switch. He yanked out his phone, fingers flying. "This is State Fire Marshal Jake Thompson. Active structure fire at 1121 Oakwood Lane, CIVY entrapped. Suspected arson. Perpetrator on scene, obstructing rescue. Send full first alarm and law enforcement now." Susan scoffed, her perfectly arched brows shooting up. "State Fire Marshal? Please, Jake, you install fire alarms or something. Don't be ridiculous." He ignored her, scanning the house. The windows were old, single pane. Spotting a heavy stone in Henry's Zen garden and other things Susan had cited for non-compliant plants, he heaved it with a roar, shattering the living room window in a glorious crash. "That's vandalism." Susan shrieked, stepping back, her composure cracking. "You'll pay for that. It's called SAVYing a life, you maniac." Jake shot back, kicking away jagged glass, his boots shielding his feet. The heat blasted out, a wall of fire's breath, but he heard Henry's weak coughs inside. Fainter now. "Dad, stay low. I'm coming." Henry's life in Oakwood had been his sanctuary. A Vietnam vet with a bad hip from shrapnel, he'd earned his quiet days tending his garden, while VYing at neighbors like Mrs. Jenkins or playing chess with Mr. Larson across the street. Jake VY-sided weekends, bringing groceries, fixing things Henry couldn't manage anymore, like cleaning gutters. They'd sit on the porch, Henry sharing small story Ace's stubborn weed he'd yanked or a bird he'd spotted. Jake was his pride, though Henry only vaguely grasped his son's role in fire safety, knowing it was important, keeping folks safe. But Susan Carter's HOA was a constant thorn. From her oversized colonial at the cul-de-sac's end, she ruled with a tyrant's glee, fining people for grass of hair too long or curtains not the right shade of beige. "Ecru is not beige, Mr. Thompson," she'd snapped once. Henry's fishing gnome, a gift from Jake, got a citation for being tacky. Most neighbors grumbled, but complied it was easier than fighting Susan's relentless inspections or escalating fines. Henry, gentle and conflict-averse, even had Jake repaint his Navy mailbox a dull taupe to appease her. Jake did it, fuming at the pettiness. The real trouble started a month back. Henry had built a small vegetable bed in his backyard, hidden by lilacs, a therapeutic project his doctor encouraged. Susan, on one of her invasive inspections, spotted it. A certified letter arrived. Unauthorized agricultural installations prohibited. Remove within 48 hours or face Dula 50 daily fines. Henry was crushed. "It's just tomatoes, Jake," he'd said, voice shaking. "Helps my back, keeps my mind busy." Jake called Susan, barely keeping his cool. "It's hidden, Susan. It's good for him. He's a vet." Her reply was cold. "His disability doesn't exempt him from the covenants. Try a potted plant." Henry begged Jake to drop it, so Jake dismantled the bed, his gut burning with injustice. Now, inside the smoke-choke house, Jake found Henry crumpled near the hallway, coughing, disoriented. "I've got you, Dad," he said, scooping him up, shocked at how light he felt. Carrying him to the broken window, Jake passed him to a firefighter, a young woman who moved with calm urgency. Outside, Susan was screaming at a cop. "He attacked me. Destroyed property. Arrest him." The officer, unfazed, said, "Ma'am, step back. The fire marshal's in charge." Susan's jaw dropped. "Fire marshal?" Her eyes locked on Jake, now helping drag a hose, his face smeared with soot, fury burning in his gaze. "Yes, Mrs. Carter," Jake said, voice low and lethal, stepping out as firefighters attacked the blaze. "And you're under arrest for reckless endangerment, unlawful imprisonment, and obstructing a firefighter." The cop cuffed her, the click of handcuffs sharp in the smoky air. Neighbors poured out Mr. Larson, Mrs. Jenkins, the young Miller family, faces mixed with shock and dawning understanding. The fire, Jake's team later found, started from a faulty kitchen socket, a hazard made deadly by Susan's chains. Henry, on a stretcher with an oxygen mask, whispered, "She locked me in, Jake. Said it was for the yard violations." Jake squeezed his hand. "It's over, Dad. She's done." Henry recovered in the hospital, his house salvageable thanks to the quick response. But Oakwood erupted. News of Susan's arrest and Jake's role spread, unleashing a flood of stories. At a park gathering, residents vented. Fines for wind chimes, threats over pets, demands to remove a wheelchair ramp. Jake's investigation into the HOA revealed a cesspool ghost contracts, embezzled fines, and Susan's shell company siphoning funds. Worse, she'd targeted vulnerable residents like Henry to force them out, devaluing properties for a shady developer. The truth unraveled further. Susan's lawyer, scrambling for a plea, exposed her plan to crash property values for cheap sales, tied to Councilman Richard Hayes, a revitalization advocate with developer pals. A bylaw, buried in fine print and signed by Hayes years ago, gave Susan vague emergency powers she twisted to justify her actions. The web of corruption stretched into City Hall. The showdown came at a packed town hall in the elementary school auditorium. Susan, out on bail, sat pale with her lawyer. Hayes, front row, oozed fake concern. Jake took the podium, voice steady, laying out Susan's crimes, the HOA's fraud, and Hayes' role with damning EVY dense bank records, forged invoices, and that bylaw, projected with Hayes' signature. The crowd roared, turning on Hayes as he sputtered denials. Jake's final blow, a photo of Hayes and the developer, grinning at a fundraiser. Susan flinched as Jake declared, "You chose greed over my father's life." The DA's adding conspiracy and racketeering charges. Chaos erupted, cops edging closer to Susan and Hayes. Mr. Larson, leaning on his cane, spoke up, voice strong. "My Ellen deserve a ramp. This is about decency, our homes. It's how we take them back." Applause thundered, a community reborn. Susan took a plea, losing her home and freedom. Hayes resigned, his career ashes, as state probes exposed wider corruption. The HOA was rebuilt with transparency, and Henry's law passed, protecting homeowners. Henry's garden bloomed again, neighbors replanting it in defiance. Mailboxes turned colorful, ramps returned, and kids' chalk art lit up sidewalks. One sunny day, Jake and Henry sat in the garden, bees buzzing. "I just went along with the rules, son," Henry said. "Thought it was easier. But sometimes you gotta fight for what's right." Jake smiled. "You show me that, Dad, every day." Oakwood felt alive again, its scars proof of a battle won, a community forged in fire. What do you think? Was Susan just a power-hungry bully, or was she a puppet in a bigger scheme? Should HOAs have this much control over our homes? And how far would you go to protect your family from someone like her? Drop your thoughts below, hit that like button, and subscribe for more stories that spark a fight.